Hey Bougie click. Imagine a romance that starts on a picturesque Croatian beach in 2022 and unravels into one of TikTok's most elaborate scams. Former Bachelor contestant Onyeka, a savvy Dallas realtor, thought she met a Danish prince only to discover a master con artist. This story isn't just about deceit, it dives deep into societal reactions, racial dynamics, and the harsh judgment women often face. Stay tuned as we explore the complex layers of this scandal and what it reveals about our perceptions of love, race, and trust. Don't forget to subscribe for more captivating stories and hit that bell icon to stay updated. Let's get into it.
I'ma make you a fan.
The Danish deception, when Cupid's arrow turns into romance fraud. Picture this, Croatia, 2022. A beach club. Onyeka, a Dallas realtor and former Bachelor contestant, meets Martin Fredsgaard Andersen, tall, charming, and claiming to be Danish royalty. He wasn't just any man, he presented himself as an Olympic athlete, a tech prodigy, and yes, a literal prince. Over the next 3 years, this Danish prince orchestrated what might be one of the most elaborate romance scams to hit TikTok. The numbers are staggering, reports vary from $130,000 to over $500,000 siphoned from Onyeka, her family, and friends through cryptocurrency investments and other financial schemes. This wasn't your garden variety catfish. This was a long con executed with the precision of a professional criminal. The fairy tale included all the right elements: whirlwind romance, meeting the families, an engagement announcement in April 2024 complete with Instagram-perfect photos. He had explanations for everything: why his royal funds were temporarily tied up, why this cryptocurrency investment was guaranteed to triple their money, why he needed just a little more to unlock his frozen assets. By September 2025, the castle built on lies came crashing down. Onyeka took to TikTok with a 25-part series she titled The Danish Deception, each video running about 10 minutes, methodically unpacking how a woman with reality TV experience, business acumen, and a support system got played by a man who probably practiced his royal wave in the mirror. The most damning part? This wasn't just Onyeka getting swept up in romance. Her family believed him. Her friends invested money. Professional adults with careers and common sense looked at this man and saw exactly what he wanted them to see: Nordic features, confident demeanor, and a story too audacious to be fake. The real con job nobody's talking about. Let's get something straight right now. Onyeka, former Bachelor contestant turned Dallas realtor, got played by a man who claimed to be Danish royalty. This self-proclaimed Olympian allegedly conned her out of over $130,000 across 3 years of marriage. But the real scandal? The way black women specifically rushed to tear her down faster than you can say, "I told you so." When you add race into the equation, the knives come out sharper, the judgment cuts deeper, and suddenly everyone's a relationship expert who would never. But in actuality, they often do. The halo effect is real, and it's spectacular. Research consistently shows that attractive people receive preferential treatment in every aspect of life, including criminal justice outcomes. Studies reveal that physically attractive individuals are perceived as more trustworthy, intelligent, and honest, even when they're literal criminals. This attractiveness halo effect exists across all 45 countries studied in recent research. So yes, this Danish con artist had the halo effect working overtime. But here's what kills me: women who've been played by men who look like they crawled out from under a bridge are the loudest critics. The audacity of women pretending that they're smarter when their dusty ex who didn't graduate high school conned them out of money he never paid back in a place to stay, while another woman was taken by an international professional con man, is peak delusion. When internalized misogyny meets racial politics. The backlash against Onyeka reveals something uglier than any con: internalized misogyny with a racial twist. Research shows that women often engage in competitive victimization, where tearing down other women becomes a twisted form of self-protection. Add interracial dating to the mix? It's blood in the water. Studies on internalized misogyny reveal that women adopt sexist behaviors toward other women as a survival mechanism in patriarchal systems. But when a black woman dates outside her race and it goes wrong? The response isn't sympathy, it's vindication for those who feel constrained by their own choices or circumstances. The same black women who down-talk black men online and encourage women to date outside their race are the biggest and most ruthless critics when these interracial relationships go bad. Instead of focusing on the con man's lies, many black women online reframed Onyeka's victimhood as proof she was white male-centered. According to coverage of the backlash, TikTok and Twitter comment sections were filled with women saying things like, "This is what happens when you chase white men. She thought she was better than us because she had a white man, now look. That's what you get for centering white men." The narrative shifted from fraud to racial loyalty, with critics suggesting her downfall was inevitable because she chose a white partner. The contradiction: pasta and lobster culture. Here's the hypocrisy. Just months earlier, TikTok was buzzing with black women joking about dating white men for pasta and lobster. The same women who laughed about fine dining perks suddenly became moral gatekeepers, declaring Onyeka's scam proof that interracial dating is dangerous. The contradiction is glaring. When it's playful, white men are fair game; when it fails, the woman is condemned. The numbers don't lie, a lot of black women choose white men too. Black women were loudest in dragging Onyeka, framing her downfall as proof she was white male-centered. But the receipts say otherwise. Dating app data and sociological studies show that black women themselves disproportionately choose white men when given the option. App behavior analyses of millions of dating interactions reveal that black women respond to and initiate messages with white men at higher rates than with Asian men, and often equal to or above black men. Belief drives preference. Research shows black women believe white men find them more desirable than men of their own race, and that belief predicts stronger attraction to white partners. Translation: the very women critiquing Onyeka are statistically more likely to swipe right on a white man themselves. Census and Pew data make it plain: women of every race date outside their race, and when they do, white men are usually the chosen partners. About 12 to 18% of black women marry outside their race, and the majority of those marriages are with white men. Latino women intermarry at roughly 27%, again most often with white men, while Asian women lead at about 36%, overwhelmingly choosing white men too. So when black women and other non-black minorities dragged Onyeka for being white male-centered, the numbers expose the hypocrisy. Statistically, they center white men themselves when stepping outside their race. The Danish deception wasn't proof of Onyeka's naivety, it was proof that envy drives the critique, because the same women talking bad about her are the ones most likely to line up for the very same man. Non-black minorities and the policing of black women's choices. It wasn't just black women critiquing Onyeka. Non-black minorities, Latinos, Asians, even some white women, joined in, dragging her for dating outside her race. But here's the truth: many of these same groups disproportionately choose white men themselves. Census and Pew data show that when Asian and Latino women marry outside their race, the majority of those marriages are with white men. Asian women intermarry at about 36%, Latinos at 27%, and both overwhelmingly pick white men. Yet when a black woman does the same, suddenly it becomes a scandal. Why the discomfort? Status anxiety. In America's racial hierarchy, white men are positioned as the top prize. When black women date them, it disrupts the unspoken order that places Asian and Latino women as the preferred partners for white men. Scarcity mindset. Non-black minorities often see interracial dating with white men as a limited resource. When black women enter that space, it feels like competition. Cultural narratives. Media has long portrayed Asian and Latino women as the acceptable exotic partners for white men, while black women are stereotyped as less desirable. So when Onyeka's relationship went public, it challenged those narratives. Jealousy disguised as critique. The backlash wasn't about protecting black women from scams, it was about resenting that Onyeka accessed a man they subconsciously view as theirs. The hypocrisy exposed. Non-black minorities mocked Onyeka for being white male-centered, but the stats prove they center white men themselves when dating outside their race. Non-black minorities don't like seeing black women date white men because it disrupts the racial hierarchy of desirability. The outrage wasn't about scams, it was about competition, jealousy, and the fear of losing their perceived place in the dating market. The mathematics of misplaced rage. Let's talk numbers. Romance fraud costs victims millions annually, with women being primary targets. Digital romance fraud specifically targets single women across all demographics. 85% of women report experiencing some form of gender-based deception or violence. Yet victim blaming from other women increases by 35% when healthcare providers are involved. But here's the kicker: research shows that women are more likely to blame female victims than male perpetrators. The con man who orchestrated a 3-year deception that fooled not just Onyeka but her entire family and friends? He's barely mentioned in the discourse. Instead, women are dissecting every decision she made, every red flag she should have seen. The numbers behind romance scams. Romance scams are not fringe crimes, they're a billion-dollar industry. According to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3, romance scams accounted for over $1.3 billion in losses in 2022, with the median loss per victim around $4,400. By 2024, the IC3 report showed romance scams remained one of the top 3 fraud categories for women over 40, with tens of thousands of complaints filed annually. Victim demographics. Women make up the majority of romance scam victims, especially in the 35 to 64 age bracket. Men also fall victim, but women report higher financial losses on average. The FTC noted that nearly 70,000 people reported romance scams in 2022, with women disproportionately represented. Race and romance fraud. While official FBI and FTC reports don't always break down victims by race, independent investigative studies and sociological research highlight racial dynamics. Black women often face harsher public judgment when scammed, with online discourse framing them as desperate or naive. This mirrors Onyeka's case, where much of the backlash came from other black women tearing her down rather than condemning the con man. White women statistically report the highest number of romance scam complaints, reflecting both population size and cultural openness to online dating platforms. Latina and Asian women, underreporting is common due to cultural stigma around being deceived, but studies suggest they are equally vulnerable to scams. Cross-racial dynamics. Research shows women of all races are targeted by men of all races. The scammer's race is irrelevant, the vulnerability lies in emotional investment, not ethnicity. Why women get targeted more? Emotional manipulation. Scammers exploit women's tendency to build trust and emotional bonds online. Financial positioning. Middle-aged women often have stable incomes or savings, making them prime targets. Social engineering. Con artists use the halo effect. Attractive scammers are perceived as more trustworthy, which increases success rates across all demographics. The race card nobody wants to acknowledge. This isn't just about a woman getting conned. It's about how quickly women, particularly black women, will cannibalize each other when an interracial relationship fails. The subtext is deafening. See what happens when you date outside your race? But the reality is simple. Con artists come in every color, nationality, and tax bracket. The only thing special about this Danish deceiver was his commitment to the con and, yes, probably those Nordic features that had everyone's guard down. Pretending that deception is exclusive to white men, or that dating within your race or socioeconomic bracket somehow makes you immune, is pure fantasy. The Danish deception wasn't proof that interracial dating is dangerous. It was proof that women weaponize race when jealousy is the real driver, ignoring the fact that scammers exist everywhere, from broke men on couches to polished Europeans with passports. Women didn't just question Onyeka's choices, they weaponized cruelty. She was called stupid, ugly, and even mocked over her chin, as if her appearance somehow explained why she was scammed. That level of vitriol was completely uncalled for, especially since she was the victim, not the perpetrator. The intensity of the attacks wasn't about concern or accountability, it was about jealousy. Onyeka was polished, accomplished, and attractive enough to be chosen for The Bachelor, a show that only selects women who fit a certain aspirational image. To tear her down over looks and intelligence while she was already humiliated by fraud shows the backlash wasn't about protecting women, it was about resenting her position. The cruelty wasn't critique, it was envy disguised as moral outrage, amplified by the racial undertone of "see what happens when you date a white man?" The family fooled too, but nobody's talking about that. Here's what everyone conveniently ignores: this man didn't just fool a woman in love. He deceived her entire support system, family members and friends who had zero romantic interest in him. Professional con artists are called professionals for a reason. They're experts at social engineering, manipulation, and creating believable narratives. But instead of recognizing the sophistication of the deception, women are too busy playing Monday morning quarterback with another woman's pain. The lack of empathy is staggering, especially from women who've cried into their wine about men who couldn't even spell deception correctly. Women date known scammers every day. The Danish deception looks dramatic because it had a European passport and a royal title attached. But let's be honest, women date known scammers all the time. Not slick international con artists, but regular men with dusty sneakers and a PlayStation controller. The hood entrepreneur scam: women date men who call themselves businessmen but their only hustle is flipping sneakers or scamming unemployment checks. The credit card king scam: plenty of women knowingly date men who run credit card fraud, PPP loan scams, or fake investment schemes. They don't just tolerate it, they help cover for it. The normalization of scams. Women normalize these scams. They call it holding him down, being loyal, or building together. But in reality, they're financing men who are professional manipulators. The Danish man wasn't unique, he was just polished. Everyday scammers don't need a royal title, they just need a woman willing to believe in potential that doesn't exist. Women date known scammers every day, and they excuse it because the man is attractive, familiar, or part of their community. The Danish deception wasn't an anomaly, it was just the luxury edition of the same scam women live daily. The difference? Onyeka's scam trended on TikTok. The everyday scams don't make headlines, but they drain women's wallets, dignity, and energy all the same. Everyday deceptions, the unspoken reality of women funding men. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit: the Danish deception looks dramatic because it had a European passport and a royal title attached. But strip away the accent and the prince storyline, and you'll see the same script playing out in neighborhoods everywhere. Women are financing men every single day, and the receipts are endless. Money transfers disguised as love: women hand men cash, cover bills, and loan money they'll never see again. It's not romance, it's unpaid labor disguised as loyalty. Babies as bargaining chips: some women have children with broke men thinking it will trap him into responsibility. Instead, they end up trapped themselves, raising kids while he drifts. Cheating with benefits: men cheat, father side babies, and women still step in to raise those children or tolerate the disrespect. That's not love, that's martyrdom. Housing hustles: men move into women's homes, eat their food, sleep in their beds, and contribute nothing but stress. Car schemes: women let men drive their cars, put vehicles in their names, and then get stuck with the debt when he disappears. Tax season tragedy: women hand over their tax refunds to men who promise to flip it or invest it, only to watch it vanish into sneakers, video games, or another woman. Luxury illusions: women buy themselves gifts and vacations, then pretend their man paid for it to keep up appearances. That's not romance, it's PR management. Sex work exploitation: some women hustle in sex work, only to funnel their hard-earned money straight into a man's pocket. He's not a partner, he's a pimp in disguise. Workhorse dynamics: women grind at jobs while men sit at home playing video games, contributing nothing but going 50-50 when they finally get up. The list goes on and on. Why this matters? The Danish deception wasn't unique, it was just Instagram-worthy. The reality is that women across races and classes are financing men every day, often in ways that don't make headlines but drain their bank accounts, their energy, and their dignity. The difference? Onyeka's scammer had a polished con with a European passport. Everyday scammers are just regular men with dusty sneakers and a PlayStation controller. Yet women still defend them, still bankroll them, and still blame other women for falling victim. The Danish deception is just the luxury edition of a scam women live daily. Whether it's a prince or a man who can't pay his phone bill, the pattern is the same: women are footing the bill while men run the con. The Chris Brown double standard. Let's talk hypocrisy. Black women turned on Onyeka for being scammed by a white man, dragging her as naive and white male-centered. Yet many of these same women still line up to defend Chris Brown, a man with a documented history of domestic abuse and repeated accusations of colorism. A lot of them are light-skinned male-centered, equating lighter skin with desirability and status. His domestic abuse record? His colorism issues? Irrelevant. For these women, the only qualification that matters is attractiveness. Chris Brown pled guilty to felony assault against Rihanna in 2009. He's been accused of violence multiple times since. He's openly mocked and excluded dark-skinned black women, refusing them entry to clubs, and openly preferring lighter-skinned women. And yet, black women still buy his music, still scream his name at shows, still defend him online. Why? Because for many, bad behavior doesn't cancel attractiveness. The secret desire, wanting her place. Let's stop pretending. Most women dragging Onyeka don't actually hate her, they want to be her. Onyeka had what many women fantasize about: a tall, attractive European husband, luxury vacations, Instagram-ready romance. Even if it was built on lies, the fantasy was real enough to spark envy. Projection disguised as critique, women call her naive because deep down they know they'd fall for the same halo effect if the man looked like that. Envy in disguise. The outrage isn't about protecting women from scams, it's about resenting that Onyeka got chosen for the fantasy, even if it ended in disaster. The Rihanna/Karrueche effect. Just like women blamed Rihanna and Karrueche for Chris Brown's abuse, they blame Onyeka for being scammed. Why? Because in reality, they wanted to be in her position, basking in the glow of desirability, even if it came with pain. White women's critiques, hypocrisy in high definition. It wasn't just black women who came for Onyeka. White women piled on too, critiquing her choices and framing her as naive or desperate. But let's be honest, white women are not immune to scams. In fact, FBI IC3 data shows white women report the highest number of romance scam complaints, reflecting both population size and their heavy use of online dating platforms. Translation: they're getting scammed too, often by men who don't even bother with a royal title. White women bankroll men every day, covering rent, buying cars, and funding vacations. They stay with men who cheat and drain their accounts. They get conned by entrepreneurial boyfriends who never launch a business. They normalize going 50-50 while carrying the heavier load financially and emotionally. So, when white women critique Onyeka, it's not coming from a place of superiority, it's projection. They see themselves in her story but prefer to pretend they're immune. The interracial jealousy factor. Let's address the elephant in the room: white women don't like seeing black women with white men. Period. The Danish deception wasn't just about fraud, it was about optics. Onyeka's relationship symbolized access to a man that many white women subconsciously view as theirs. When it collapsed, the critiques weren't just about scams, they carried an undercurrent of racial jealousy. White women often frame black women dating white men as trying too hard or chasing status. Yet, they themselves date broke white men, fund their lifestyles, and endure the same scams. The difference? They don't want to see black women positioned in the same romantic spaces they claim as their own. The backlash wasn't about protecting women from fraud, it was about reinforcing racial boundaries in dating. Onyeka's downfall gave white women the perfect excuse to drag her while ignoring their own dusty exes who drained their bank accounts without even pretending to be royalty. The bottom line. Romance scams are increasing globally, with more sophisticated tactics targeting women across all demographics. The Danish deception isn't a cautionary tale about interracial dating, it's an exposé on how quickly women abandon solidarity. The real deception here? Women believing that tearing down a victim somehow protects them from becoming one. Statistics show that victim blaming actually increases vulnerability by creating environments where women don't seek help or share their experiences. Every woman laughing at Onyeka's story while their man's phone is locked tighter than Fort Knox needs to sit down. Every woman using this as proof that interracial dating is dangerous while ignoring domestic violence statistics within their own community needs perspective. And every woman who spent more energy critiquing the victim than the criminal needs to examine why misogyny feels so comfortable when it comes from their own mouth. Because at the end of the day, the Danish deception revealed something far uglier than one man's con. It exposed how readily women will execute each other in the court of public opinion, especially when race provides the rope. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the intricate web of deception and societal dynamics surrounding the Danish deception. If this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more insightful content and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest uploads. Your support helps us continue to uncover stories that challenge perceptions and encourage meaningful discussions. Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. What are your thoughts on the societal implications of this case? Until next time, stay informed and stay critical. What do you think? Are women judging Onyeka too harshly? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie. Follow and support me. All links in bio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check description for more info. New episodes every day.